Before the Blackstone tablet, Mu Chen stood still. He gazed at the countless marks on the surface of the tablet. Faintly, it felt as though he could sense the presence of innumerable powerful beings who had once stood here, gathering all their physical strength to unleash their strongest strikes. It was said that in the ancient times, there were mighty beings who managed to light all 9 bronze lanterns, which deeply impressed Mu Chen. Of course, he also knew that anyone capable of lighting all 9 lanterns must have surpassed their own strength, perhaps even being a supreme of the 8th or 9th grade. Moreover, the primordial beast planes, in the ancient era, possessed powerful body-refining forces, which made many of the strong practitioners there exceptionally tough physically. Mu Chen had no doubt that such beings could light all 9 bronze lanterns. Since the destruction of the primordial beast planes, those who entered in search of opportunities were few, and among them, only a handful had managed to light all 9 bronze lanterns on the 4th layer of the body-refining tower. All of those individuals were monstrous geniuses, their brilliance overshadowing even the outstanding prodigies of their respective clans. As for lighting all 9 lanterns, Mu Chen knew how terrifying the difficulty was. Even someone as strong as Han Shan could only barely light the 7th lantern despite expending all his strength. Far from the 9th one. Thus, Mu Chen could not yet gauge what kind of result he would achieve in the end. But no matter what, this time, he was determined to give his all. He was going to break through to the 2nd layer of the dragon and phoenix scripture within the body-refining tower. Mu Chen's thoughts gradually settled. He took a deep breath and, under the gaze of all present, clenched his palm tightly. A faint golden light began to emanate from within Mu Chen's body. His skin took on a golden hue, and with time, the gold grew darker and more restrained. As though he were an ancient golden statue, he activated his dragon and phoenix body, drawing out every ounce of power from his blood and flesh. This time, he would push the dragon and phoenix body to its absolute limits. Not far away, Zhong Teng, Han Shan, and Mo Feng watched Mu Chen intently, narrowing their eyes. They could sense an immovable weight emanating from him, as though he had become an imposing mountain, towering above heaven and earth. The dragon and phoenix body continued to reach its peak. The true dragon and phoenix patterns on his arms quivered slightly. Soon after, the sounds of a dragon's roar and a phoenix's cry echoed from within him, shaking his flesh and blood. The power inside Mu Chen surged at an incredible speed. The dragon's roar and phoenix's cry grew louder and more urgent. His flesh and blood began to boil, especially around his arms where the true dragon and phoenix patterns had become scalding hot, like a branding iron. Mu Chen's eyes glowed with increasingly brilliant golden light, his breathing growing heavier. The power within him had now reached a terrifying level, stronger than when he had previously wounded Lu Sui. Han Shan and the others gazed at the figure radiating golden light, their expressions growing solemn. The golden light wasn't just spiritual energy. It was a manifestation of Mu Chen's blood and vitality at their peak. What stunned them, however, was that this bloodlight felt strange, even oppressive in its fluctuations. I didn't expect that with the strength of a 6th grade supreme, he could generate such terrifying momentum. Han Shan observed Mu Chen sharply. Although he hadn't underestimated Mu Chen, he hadn't anticipated that his abilities would be so outstanding. He had a feeling that Mu Chen's actions this time would at least surpass Zhong Teng, Mo Feng, and possibly even catch up to him. This human is no simple character. Mu Chen, however, was oblivious to the heavy gazes of Han Shan and the others. His blood and flesh boiled. He noticed that the world around him seemed to fade, as if only he existed in in this state. Mu Chen gathered all his energy to its peak. Golden light, as tangible as substance, surged from his eyes. His strength had reached its ultimate peak, and even his bones and flesh sent sharp pangs of pain through his body. That was the ultimate display. Since it's reached the limit, it's time to strike. Mu Chen's expression was as calm as a still pond, as if he were beyond himself and others. His right hand tightened into a fist, and with a simple punch, he unleashed the moment of impact. The true dragon and true phoenix patterns surged and intertwined, ultimately coiling around Mu Chen's right arm. Golden and purple light radiated as the golden dragon claws and phoenix talons spread wide, completely enveloping Mu Chen's fist. Roar. The moment the punch was thrown, the resounding roars of the dragon and phoenix could no longer be suppressed by Mu Chen's body. The sounds reverberated throughout the ancient plaza at that moment. Han Shan, Mo Feng, and Zhong Teng's bodies stiffened. They sensed a terrifying pressure that was rapidly emanating from Mu Chen's body. The pressure made their bloodlines tremble. It was a bloodline suppression. But this suppression was beyond their belief. Their own bloodlines were high-tier, among the best in the spirit beast world. Yet now they were experiencing bloodline suppression because of the pressure from Mu Chen. This was something only the super bloodline from a supreme divine beast could cause. In their shock, Mu Chen's fist, wrapped with the true dragon and true phoenix, like something forged from gold, broke through space, sending out golden ripples as it slammed into the black stone tablet. Boom! At the moment of impact, Han Shan and the others felt the entire ancient plaza tremble. Even the usually rock-solid black stone tablet seemed to quiver slightly. Their gazes locked onto the point where Mu Chen's fist collided with the black stone tablet, their pupils shrinking. Golden ripples exploded from that point, and Mu Chen's fist instantly shattered, blood splattering out, and even white bones were faintly visible. This showed how powerful Mu Chen's punch was. It was so overwhelming that even his physical body could barely withstand it. The recoil from the impact shattered his fist. Yet, even as blood splattered and his white bones were exposed, Mu Chen showed no signs of stopping. Instead, with a low growl, all his strength surged out through his fist. Golden ripples radiated from Mu Chen's fist, sweeping across the surface of the stone tablet. The ancient ground beneath his feet cracked open slightly. Buzz! Under the terrifying force, Han Shan and the others saw flames flickering inside the bronze lamps on the stone tablet. Then, the sounds of lighting fires, poof, 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 echoed one by one. The bronze lamps ignited. In the span of a single breath, all 6 bronze lamps were lit. After the 6th lamp ignited, sparks appeared in the 7th lamp. The flames gradually gathered, and with a poof, it ignited as well. He's actually lit the 7th bronze lamp. Inside the body refining tower, exclamations filled the air, and all the experts looked on in disbelief. Mu Chen's speed in lighting the 7th lamp was even faster than Han Shan's. Han Shan's expression changed at that moment. His gaze fixed on the 8th bronze lamp. Although it remained dark, he could sense that Mu Chen's strength was not yet exhausted. As Han Shan focused intently, the 8th lamp stayed dark for several breaths. But finally, a spark began to appear. Mo Feng and Zhong Teng also saw the spark. They couldn't help but gasp that Mu Chen's strength was still enough to create a spark in the 8th lamp. This was something Han Shan hadn't managed to do before. Drip, drip. Blood continued to drip from Mu Chen's shattered fist, revealing glimpses of bone, but he remained unfazed. Beneath the golden fist, the golden ripples continued to surge, crashing into the black stone tablet. Sizzle, sizzle. Inside the 8th bronze lamp, the once faint spark now began to grow. A second spark appeared, then a third. More sparks gathered in Han Shan and the others' widening eyes, and finally, they converged into a flame, roaring to life. The 8th bronze lamp was lit. Han Shan and the others' expressions appeared somewhat stiff at this moment. They stared blankly at the 8th bronze lantern that had ignited, then looked again at the young figure standing like a rock before the stone tablet. The shock in their hearts was beyond words. Who would have thought that Mu Chen could even light the 8th bronze lantern? Just how terrifying must the power of that punch be? Such power, perhaps even they would have to use all their strength to counter it, right? Inside and outside the body refining tower, everything became quiet under the light of the burning 8th bronze lantern. However, just when they were momentarily speechless in shock, Mu Chen's golden-colored eyes locked onto the stone tablet. The intense pain coming from his fist was nearly ignored, and his mind, overwhelmed by such immense power, became somewhat empty. But for some reason, his instincts told him that this wasn't over yet. He could vaguely sense that the power he had used to strike the stone tablet earlier could still be controlled, like a strange hidden force. If it exploded, it would cause even more astonishing destructive power. Perhaps, he could even ignite the 9th bronze lantern. Golden light shot out from Mu Chen's eyes. Without hesitation, his fist slammed hard into the stone tablet, and a hoarse voice came low from his throat. "Explode for me! Explode for me!" The moment the punch was thrown, the resounding roars of the dragon and phoenix could no longer be suppressed by Mu Chen's body. The sounds reverberated throughout the ancient plaza at that moment. Han Shan, Mo Feng, and Zhong Teng's bodies stiffened. They sensed a terrifying pressure that was rapidly emanating from Mu Chen's body. The pressure made their bloodlines tremble. It was a bloodline suppression. But this suppression was beyond their belief. Their own bloodlines were high-tier, among the best in the spirit beast world. Yet now they were experiencing bloodline suppression because of the pressure from Mu Chen. This was something only the super bloodline from a supreme divine beast could cause. In their shock, Mu Chen's fist, wrapped with the true dragon and true phoenix, like something forged from gold, broke through space, sending out golden ripples as it slammed into the black stone tablet. Boom! At the moment of impact, Han Shan and the others felt the entire ancient plaza tremble. Even the usually rock-solid black stone tablet seemed to quiver slightly. Their gazes locked onto the point where Mu Chen's fist collided with the black stone tablet, their pupils shrinking. Golden ripples exploded from that point, and Mu Chen's fist instantly shattered, blood splattering out, and even white bones were faintly visible. This showed how powerful Mu Chen's punch was. It was so overwhelming that even his physical body could barely withstand it. The recoil from the impact shattered his fist. Yet, even as blood splattered and his white bones were exposed, Mu Chen showed no signs of stopping. Instead, with a low growl, all his strength surged out through his fist. Golden ripples radiated from Mu Chen's fist, sweeping across the surface of the stone tablet. The ancient ground beneath his feet cracked open slightly. Buzz! Under the terrifying force, Han Shan and the others saw flames flickering inside the bronze lamps on the stone tablet. Then, the sounds of lighting fires, poof, 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 echoed one by one. The bronze lamps ignited. In the span of a single breath, all 6 bronze lamps were lit. After the 6th lamp ignited, sparks appeared in the 7th lamp. The flames gradually gathered, and with a poof, it ignited as well. He's actually lit the 7th bronze lamp. Inside the body refining tower, exclamations filled the air, and all the experts looked on in disbelief. Mu Chen's speed in lighting the 7th lamp was even faster than Han Shan's. Han Shan's expression changed at that moment. His gaze fixed on the 8th bronze lamp. Although it remained dark, he could sense that Mu Chen's strength was not yet exhausted. As Han Shan focused intently, the 8th lamp stayed dark for several breaths. But finally, a spark began to appear. Mo Feng and Zhong Teng also saw the spark. They couldn't help but gasp that Mu Chen's strength was still enough to create a spark in the 8th lamp. This was something Han Shan hadn't managed to do before. Drip, drip. Blood continued to drip from Mu Chen's shattered fist, revealing glimpses of bone, but he remained unfazed. Beneath the golden fist, the golden ripples continued to surge, crashing into the black stone tablet. Sizzle, sizzle. Inside the 8th bronze lamp, the once faint spark now began to grow. A second spark appeared, then a third. More sparks gathered in Han Shan and the others' widening eyes, and finally, they converged into a flame, roaring to life. The 8th bronze lamp was lit. Han Shan and the others' expressions appeared somewhat stiff at this moment. They stared blankly at the 8th bronze lantern that had ignited, then looked again at the young figure standing like a rock before the stone tablet. The shock in their hearts was beyond words. Who would have thought that Mu Chen could even light the 8th bronze lantern? Just how terrifying must the power of that punch be? Such power, perhaps even they would have to use all their strength to counter it, right? Inside and outside the body refining tower, everything became quiet under the light of the burning 8th bronze lantern. However, just when they were momentarily speechless in shock, Mu Chen's golden-colored eyes locked onto the stone tablet. The intense pain coming from his fist was nearly ignored, and his mind, overwhelmed by such immense power, became somewhat empty. But for some reason, his instincts told him that this wasn't over yet. He could vaguely sense that the power he had used to strike the stone tablet earlier could still be controlled, like a strange hidden force. If it exploded, it would cause even more astonishing destructive power. Perhaps, He could even ignite the 9th bronze lantern. Golden light shot out from Mu Chen's eyes. Without hesitation, his fist slammed hard into the stone tablet, and a hoarse voice came low from his throat. Explode for me. Explode for me. Light screen, their gazes locked on the 9th bronze lamp. Lu Qing and the Heavenly Rock clan experts were stunned. The blazing flame in the 9th lamp danced in their pupils, sending an endless chill through their hearts. Zhong Tong, who had already ignited 6 bronze lamps, was considered the most outstanding of the younger generation in their Heavenly Rock clan. But now, in front of Mu Chun, who had ignited all 9 bronze lamps, what was he? A joke? 6 lamps versus 9 lamps. Even those who had never entered the body refining tower understood the vast difference between the two. Though the stone tablet only acknowledged physical strength, they had no doubt that Mu Chen's punch earlier would have severely injured a 7th grade Supreme if it had landed directly. With 6th grade Supreme strength, a single punch could injure a 7th grade Supreme. What kind of monster was this? Zhonghua's face turned pale. If Mu Chun had used that punch during their previous battle, he would have been gravely injured, if not dead. Thinking back to the mockery they had thrown earlier, they now felt a tightness in their chests. As the 9th bronze lamp blazed, they knew that all the so-called prodigies here would soon be overshadowed by Mu Chen's brilliance. This person, how can he be so terrifying? Lu Qing's face turned pale as she said with difficulty. At this moment, no matter how sharp her tongue was, she could no longer mock him. The strength Mu Chen displayed genuinely made her heart tremble. Such a person was too terrifying. Beside her, the Heavenly Rock clan experts were silent. They too couldn't understand how Mu Chen, with only 6th grade Supreme strength, could achieve such a terrifying feat. Big Brother Mu Chen is amazing. He's way stronger than Big Brother. As Lu Qing and the others were struck with shock, Mo Ling widened her black eyes, gazing in awe at the 9th bronze lamp burning on the light screen. A look of admiration appeared on her delicate face. She had always considered Mo Feng to be outstanding among the younger generation, but now, compared to Mu Chen, there seemed to be a gap. Jiu Yu, who had been in a daze for a while, slowly came back to herself. Hearing Mo Ling's words, she couldn't help but smile and said, "So quickly, you've already abandoned your big brother?" Mu Chen must have used some special method to ignite the 9th lamp. And remember, this is only a demonstration of physical strength. It doesn't necessarily mean Mu Chen is stronger than Han Shan or Mo Feng. After all, for them, physical strength likely doesn't even account for half of their overall strength. Mo Ling nodded upon hearing this, but the adoration on her small face didn't diminish much. After all, the figure still stood before the black stone tablet, maintaining the posture of a punch just thrown. The momentum it emanated was simply mesmerizing, making it hard to look away. Jiu Yu chuckled softly, no longer saying much. Her tense heart gradually relaxed. She gazed at the tall, slender figure in the light screen, and a sense of pride swelled within her. Some of the elders in her clan always looked down on Mu Chen, but if they knew about his achievements in the body refining tower, they would probably reconsider. Before the black stone tablet, the 9 lamps were all lit. Flames flickered in Mu Chen's eyes, gradually breaking the emptiness in his mind. The world around him once again became clear in his perception. Then, a sharp pain in his palm made his face contort slightly. He slowly retracted his fist, the golden light swirling on his knuckles. However, this time, his power had clearly reached its limit. His muscles were drained of strength, and he realized that even moving his feet had become impossible. This was the sign of his power being completely exhausted. Mu Chen forced a faint smile, struggling to remain standing before the stone tablet, desperately trying to keep his body from collapsing in a disheveled manner. Buzz. As Mu Chen felt his entire body drained of strength, the black stone tablet finally began to stir. On its surface, red lines appeared, resembling blood vessels or meridians. The stone tablet trembled, and strands of near-crimson chaos chi seeped out from within. The chaos chi contained an extraordinarily dense essence, and it seemed as though the blood essence of the heaven-devouring beast was gathered within it. The moment Mu Chen inhaled it, his blood-soaked fist instantly recovered. His flesh and blood began to boil, as if they were letting out a desperate cry of hunger. They craved to devour the chaos chi with madness. Mu Chen's eyes brightened. This chaos chi was dozens of times denser than the ones Han Shan, Mo Feng, and Zhong Tung had encountered. So this was the reward from lighting the 9 bronze lamps? It was indeed rich and tempting. Mu Chen's heart surged with joy. Without hesitation, he inhaled, drawing the crimson chaos chi continuously into his body. Meanwhile, Zhong Tung, not far away, saw the helplessness in Mu Chen's state. He could easily wipe him out with a single finger now. With that thought in mind, Zhong Tung didn't hesitate. He stepped forward with great force. He was going to seize the chaos chi for himself. Boom. The ground trembled as Zhong Tung's figure shot out like an arrow, rushing toward Mu Chen, who stood before the black stone tablet. Spiritual energy surged, and a murderous intent swept across the air. Zhong Tang's sudden movement immediately drew countless exclamations from outside the body refining tower. Jiu Yu and Mo Ling's expressions changed instantly. Even though they were not at the scene, they could still tell that Mu Chen was nearly exhausted. He was at his weakest right now. If Zhong Tung decided to strike now, it would undoubtedly pose a huge threat to Mu Chen. Zhong Tung. Jiu Yu gritted her silver teeth, her beautiful eyes exuding such coldness that it could almost be felt physically. However, despite her anger, Jiu Yu didn't panic too much. After all, Mu Chen wasn't alone on the 4th layer. Mo Feng, though cold in personality, would never allow Zhong Tung to harm Mu Chen. As Jiu Yu had predicted, when Zhong Tung made his move, Mo Feng's gaze darkened. His figure flickered and appeared in front of Zhong Tung in a flash, his powerful spiritual energy erupting. His sharp, icy eyes locked onto Zhong Tung. Get back, that if you take another step, don't blame me for acting. Mo Feng's voice was cold, his eyes like a blade, sharp and unwavering. Zhong Tung's expression darkened. He sneered. Mo Feng, Mu Chen isn't even from the Jiu Yu Sparrow clan. He's just a mere human. Are you really going to stand against me and the Heavenly Rock clan for him? Mo Feng smirked disdainfully, not bothering to respond. His gaze on Zhong Tung grew even more menacing, making the latter understand that if he dared to take another step, Mo Feng would immediately strike. Zhong Tung, seeing Mo Feng's unyielding stance, also harbored killing intent. His eyes flashed, and he suddenly turned to the side where Han Shan had been watching coldly all along. Brother Han, this body refining tower test was supposed to be yours, the rightful first place. Now, Mu Chen dares to take away the opportunity meant for our divine beast clan. Can you really tolerate this? Mo Feng's expression immediately darkened when he heard Zhong Tang's provocative words. He could still stop Zhong Ting alone, but if Han Shan got involved, he wouldn't be able to protect Mu Chen. Han Shan, who had suddenly heard Zhong Tang's words, was stunned for a moment. He then slightly narrowed his eyes and replied indifferently. This is your personal feud. Why drag me into it? Are you not interested in the essence of the heaven-devouring beasts at that level, Brother Han? If you could absorb it, you'd probably be unrivaled among the 7th grade supremes. Even if you encountered the top prodigies of the Dragon Phoenix clan, you'd likely no longer fear them, Zhong Tung said. Han Shan's gaze immediately flickered. He glanced at the bright red essence that Mu Chen was absorbing, and a trace of greed flashed in his eyes. He knew very well how extraordinary the essence Mu Chen had obtained was, far surpassing anything they had gotten before, that if he truly could absorb and refine it. Zhong Tung's words were likely not an exaggeration. With that thought in mind, Han Shan's expression became increasingly unsettled. He was clearly wavering, and seeing his reaction, Mo Feng's heart sank. Outside the body refining tower, Jiu Yu narrowed her beautiful eyes as she observed the scene in the light screen. Though she couldn't hear the conversation, judging by Zhong Tang's actions and Han Shan's response, she could guess what Zhong Tung was trying to do. Her delicate face grew colder, and a chill radiated from her body. Clearly enraged, if Han Shan intervened now, it would be an immense threat to Mu Chen. Zhong Tung must die. Jiu Yu clenched her teeth, her face filled with murderous intent. Beside her, Mo Ling's worried expression also appeared. Mu Chen was defenseless at the moment. Relying on her elder brother's words alone, she doubted they could stop a combined assault from Zhong Tung and Han Shan at this time. Other strong warriors from various clans noticed the disturbance in the 4th layer and murmured among themselves. Some even expressed regret over Mu Chen's situation. Was this upstart about to be eliminated? Just as he reached his peak? Not far away, Lu Sui, recovering from his injuries under the protection of the Thunder Crow clan experts, opened his eyes and sneered as he observed the scene. Mu Chen, let's see how you stay smug now. All the rewards he had worked so hard to earn seemed like they were about to become someone else's gains. Outside the body refining tower, countless eyes, filled with either regret or gloating, turned to the light screen. Under the watchful eyes of many, Han Shan's gaze flickered uncertainly. It seemed he couldn't make up his mind. Brother Han, time is of the essence. If you don't act soon, the essence of the heaven-devouring beast will be out of your reach, Xun'er urged. If Mu Chen regained his strength, then even if Han Shan wanted to act, he and Mo Feng combined might not be able to defeat them. Hearing Xun'er's urging, Han Shan furrowed his brow. His gaze shifted to Mu Chen, who was still standing quietly before the stone tablet, with the crimson essence swirling around him, giving him an air of mystery. Han Shan had undergone years of painstaking cultivation and countless battles, so his instincts were sharp. This time, he sensed something unusual from the young human before him. It was a deeply suppressed aura of danger. This sensation made him realize that if he truly chose to act today, he would have to be ruthless. If he let Mu Chen escape with his life, he would never find peace again. But was it worth offending such a dangerous enemy for the sake of the essence of the heaven-devouring beasts? Han Shan's eyes flickered rapidly, and the entire plaza grew tense with silence. Both Xun'er and Mo Feng could feel the weight of the moment. They knew Han Shan's decision would drastically change the situation. After several breaths, the silence was broken by a long, deep breath from Han Shan. He slowly looked up, smiled at Xun'er and Mo Feng, then shook his head and said, "Though the essence of the heaven-devouring beasts is rare, it seems I, Han Shan, am not destined to enjoy such fortune. I can only appreciate your good intentions." Although greed made Han Shan want to seize the devouring heaven beast's essence, his sharp intuition ultimately took over, and he chose not to act. Xun'er's face immediately turned ashen. Upon hearing this, Mo Feng let out a quiet sigh of relief. His usually indifferent, handsome face softened noticeably, and he nodded towards Han Shan in gratitude. "Since Brother Han has no interest, I have no choice but to withdraw," Xun'er said, his expression returning to normal after a brief moment of stiffness. He then took a step back. Feeling Xun'er's pressure fade, Mo Feng's tense mind finally relaxed slightly. Boom. However, just as Mo Feng was starting to ease up, Xun'er's murderous intent suddenly erupted in his eyes. His figure shot forward like a bolt of lightning, leaving behind a series of afterimages. "Xun'er, you dare!" A flash of anger crossed Mo Feng's eyes. He stepped forward, appearing in front of the afterimages in an instant. With a powerful punch, a phoenix's cry rang out, accompanied by fiery red flames that swept forward, imbued with immense spiritual energy. The punch shattered all the afterimages. As the afterimages shattered, one figure was forced to reveal itself. Xun'er slapped his palm backward, golden light surging, sharp as ever, like 1,000 swords rushing forward, intent on tearing the heavens apart. Bang! The clash of fist and palm sent a massive shockwave through the air, shaking the space itself. Both figures trembled, but Xun'er's form was directly obliterated by Mo Feng's punch, transforming into a burst of golden light. However, as Mo Feng blasted Xun'er apart, his pupils contracted in alarm. He saw that the golden light seemed to pierce through space itself, traveling in an eerie, unnatural way, and then appeared behind him. Golden-winged rock's divine art, spatial teleportation. Mo Feng's face darkened, and without hesitation, he threw a punch with terrifying force, the air around it cracking, sending violent waves through space as it hurtled towards the golden light behind him. Whoosh! But the golden light didn't respond to his attack. Instead, a sharp beam of light shot out, tearing through the void and heading straight for Mu Chen. That beam was a dark gold feather, about 10 feet long, cutting through the air like a peerless divine sword, radiating a domineering aura as it swept across the surroundings. It was a divine feather that had fallen from the supreme divine beast, the golden-winged rock. After being tempered by the Heavenly Rock clan, its sharpness rivaled that of a supreme-grade artifact. Any ordinary 7th-grade supreme would be pierced through if struck by it. Xun'er's intentions were crystal clear. He was willing to suffer injuries just to kill Mu Chen here. The feather tore through the air, and Mo Feng's face turned grim. He could handle Xun'er, but he couldn't stop the sharp feather now heading for Mu Chen. Given Mu Chen's current condition, it seemed certain that the feather would kill him. This mistake filled Mo Feng with frustration and rage. It was clear that today, no matter what, Xun'er couldn't be allowed to leave alive. No matter how much Mo Feng cursed, the path of the feather couldn't be altered. In the next instant, the golden light appeared behind Mu Chen, speeding toward his head, intending to pierce through his skull. Was this dark horse about to fall here? Seeing this, countless powerful figures sighed in regret. Xun'er's face now wore a mocking smile. No matter how talented you are, you will die here today. But just as his smile appeared, it suddenly froze. Because, at the moment the feather was about to pierce Mu Chen's head, Mu Chen, who had been motionless until now, suddenly stretched out his hand and firmly grasped the feather, which gleamed with purple and golden light. The feather, which could pierce through the defenses of a 7th-grade supreme, now found itself completely immobilized in that seemingly slender, pale hand. Xun'er's face stiffened, bit by bit. The owner of that hand slowly opened his golden glowing eyes and turned to face Xun'er, his indifferent gaze piercing through. The long hand gripped the sharp, dark golden feather as if it were a rock, no matter how it flashed with urgent golden light, unable to break free. After restraining the feather, Mu Chen, with a faint golden glow still in his eyes, calmly looked at Xun'er and slowly said, "It seems, Brother Xun'er, you have truly shown no mercy this time." Xun'er's expression grew particularly grim at that moment. He hadn't expected Mu Chen to regain his strength at such a crucial time. Moreover, this guy, with just his bare palms, had actually caught his golden feather sword. That sword was powerful enough to rival a supreme divine artifact. Even an ordinary 7th-grade supreme, if caught off guard, would be pierced through their body by its force. Xun'er had absolute confidence that if it were the old Mu Chen, he wouldn't have been able to accomplish this. But now, it seemed that after absorbing the essence of the heaven-devouring beast, Mu Chen's physical body had undergone a significant improvement. This is truly a disaster. Xun'er regretted deeply. If he had known this would happen, he should have made his move forcibly on the 3rd floor. Even if it cost him something, he should have killed Mu Chen then and there. But no matter how much regret filled his heart, it was of no use now. Facing Mu Chen's sharp, piercing gaze, Xun'er had no choice but to remain expressionless. His body, however, was tense, always on alert, ready for Mu Chen's sudden attack. Mu Chen had now reached a point where he was worthy of Xun'er's caution. Xun'er's eyes flickered. He snapped his fingers, attempting to retract the feather sword that Mu Chen had grabbed. With the sword in hand, his combat power would be boosted. The situation was dire, and he needed to increase his own strength. However, his manipulation didn't have the desired effect. The sword struggled continuously in Mu Chen's hands, but couldn't break free. In fact, as Mu Chen's grip tightened, the golden light of the sword gradually faded. "Since you've given it to me, why bother trying to take it back? Brother Xun'er is so generous. I'll just take this sword." Mu Chen smiled at Xun'er. Then, with a surge of spiritual energy from within, he directed it straight into the feather sword that it was clear he intended to absorb it. He was currently short of a weapon, and the golden feather sword was just right for him to use. Xun'er's eyes first flared with anger, but quickly, a mocking look appeared in them. The golden feather sword was crafted from the divine feathers of the golden-winged rock, and it still carried the essence of the rock. That was a true supreme divine beast. If it wasn't held by their heavenly rock clan, the essence would backfire and harm its wielder. This Mu Chen, he really was getting carried away. As Xun'er mocked him, Mu Chen's spiritual energy flowed into the sword, and as expected, Xun'er's prediction came true. The sword's energy suddenly surged, its golden glow flaring as it violently struggled today. Domineering and fierce aura began to emanate, as if it wanted to strike back at Mu Chen. the essence of the golden-winged rock. Mu Chen wasn't at all surprised. He merely smiled and tightened his grip. On his arm, the true dragon and phoenix patterns appeared, and the aura of the true dragon and phoenix flowed into the golden feather sword. It quickly suppressed the remaining rock essence. Both were supreme divine beasts, but the residual energy of the golden-winged rock simply couldn't withstand the combined power of Mu Chen's true dragon and phoenix patterns. With the energy suppressed, the sword's struggles died down, and the golden light faded as it transformed into a golden longsword in Mu Chen's hand. The sword was quite unique. The blade was lined with fine serrations, resembling the edges of feathers. Golden light flickered from it, emitting an aura of extreme sharpness. "Nice sword," Mu Chen said with a smile, raising the sword in his hand. The mocking smile on Zhong Teng's face had frozen the moment Mu Chen gripped the sword's hilt. He stared blankly at the now calm longsword in Mu Chen's hands, his face filled with disbelief. Mu Chen had actually suppressed the essence of the golden-winged rock in the sword? That was a supreme, divine beast. Was Mu Chen even human? Could he possibly have the bloodline of a supreme divine beast flowing within him? While Zhong Teng was stunned, Mu Chen's playful gaze turned toward him again. He raised the golden longsword and said with a smile, "I guess it's time for us to settle the score." His smile remained, but there was a faint killing intent behind his words. Zhong Teng had repeatedly tried to cause trouble for him. Attempting to eliminate him, it had finally pushed Mu Chen to the point where he was considering taking action. As Mu Chen's words fell, Mo Feng took a few steps to the side, positioning himself to form an angle with Mu Chen and lock Zhong Teng in place. The intense aura emanating from the two of them caused Zhong Teng's face to turn even darker. With Mu Chen and Zhong Teng teaming up, he had little chance of winning. "Two of you. We're here to seek opportunities in the body refining tower. There's no need to fight to the death, right? Besides, we're only on the 4th floor right now. If you truly intend to fight me, I think you should be aware that there will be consequences, and you probably wouldn't want to see that situation unfold," Zhong Teng said, his expression shifting, before he spoke in a deep voice. Mu Chen smiled slightly and said, "I think it's quite easy to force you out of the body refining tower." Zhong Teng's eyes instantly turned cold. If he were forced out of the body refining tower, it would mean losing his chance to enter the 5th floor, which would be an enormous loss for him. "What do you want?" Zhong Teng gritted his teeth and asked, finally forced to back down. "Actually, it's very simple for me to ignore your earlier ambush. 3 million supreme spiritual liquid," Mu Chen said, stretching out his hand with a smile. A look of shock appeared on Zhong Teng's face. Clearly, he hadn't quite processed it, but after a long moment, he finally came to his senses and gritted his teeth, saying, 3 million supreme spiritual liquid? You might as well go rob it." Even though he was a genius from the Heavenly Rock clan, 3 million supreme spiritual liquid was not a small amount. He alone couldn't possibly come up with that much. "Then get out of the body refining tower." Mu Chen's previously smiling face instantly turned cold, and he spoke without any courtesy. "You." Zhong Teng nearly exploded with anger. His eyes flashed with murderous intent, but after a moment, he suppressed his rage and gritted his teeth, saying, "I only have 1 million supreme spiritual liquid. Hand it over." Mu Chen extended his hand. Zhong Teng's face alternated between green and white, and in the end, he reluctantly flicked his sleeve, causing a golden jade vial to fly out. Inside the vial, dazzling spiritual light shimmered. Mu Chen caught it, and sensed the contents before smiling and nodding. Zhong Teng truly had some boldness, carrying such a large amount of supreme spiritual liquid with him. This 1 million was equivalent to more than half of the income of the 9 Nether Palace over the past 6 months. Mu Chen divided the supreme spiritual liquid in the vial into 2 and tossed half to Mo Feng, saying with a smile, "Thanks." If it hadn't been for Mo Feng stalling for some time earlier, he might have been seriously injured by Zhong Teng. Mo Feng didn't hesitate to take it. No one would ever have too much supreme spiritual liquid. It was a vital resource for cultivation, and the more, the better. However, as he took the supreme spiritual liquid, Mo Feng transmitted his voice in confusion. Are we just letting him go like this? He had come to understand Mu Chen's character a bit, and Mu Chen didn't seem as mild-mannered as he appeared. It's impossible to kill him inside the body refining tower. If we push him too hard, he'll just exit the tower, and the body refining tower will kick him out. Once he's out, he might retaliate without hesitation, attacking 9 Nether and Mo Ling. In that case, we might be forced to leave the body refining tower, Mu Chen said with a light chuckle. That would be a lose-lose situation. There's no need to give up our chance on the 5th floor for this right now. As for this guy, we'll deal with him after we redone. As for the 1 million supreme spiritual liquid, let's consider it an advance on interest. Honestly, if he were a bit more stubborn and refused, I wouldn't have much of a way to deal with him. After all, the opportunity on the 5th floor is just too tempting to let go of. After hearing Mu Chen's words, Mo Feng's expression became somewhat peculiar. Zhong Teng was indeed a shrewd person, but unexpectedly, he had been completely outplayed by Mu Chen and lost face in the process. While Mu Chen and Mo Feng were conversing in secret, Zhong Teng seemed to have sensed something. His brows furrowed, and it was as if he suddenly understood what had happened. His face turned ashen, and he immediately shouted, "You're playing me?" He wasn't a fool. If their roles had been reversed, he wouldn't have let Mu Chen go easily. But since Mu Chen hadn't done so, it meant that Mu Chen was holding back. If he thought a little more deeply, he would understand why. Quick to react, Mu Chen praised with a smile. Zhong Teng, enraged by the compliment, almost exploded, but in the end, he forced himself to suppress his fury, glaring at Mu Chen viciously. He could only grit his teeth and retreat, swallowing his anger. Mu Chen, seeing this, couldn't be bothered to pay him any more attention. He would deal with Zhong Teng later. Shifting his gaze to the side, where Han Shan had remained silent, Mu Chen cupped his hands and said, "Thanks a lot for your help, Brother Han." Although he had been fully focused on absorbing the essence of the heaven-devouring beast, Mu Chen still knew what was happening. As for Han Shan's inaction, he felt it was a small favor he owed him. That if Han Shan had acted earlier, the situation would not have been as it was now. Well said. Han Shan also smiled and nodded. Brother Mu is truly skilled. Whether it was Mu Chen taking control of Zhong Teng's golden feather sword, or later forcing Zhong Teng to use the supreme spiritual liquid to resolve his crisis, it was clear that Mu Chen was no ordinary person. This made Han Shan feel a little relieved. He was glad that greed hadn't clouded his judgment earlier. Otherwise, offending such a person would have been quite troublesome. Mu Chen returned a smile, but then fell silent. Instead, he lifted his gaze to the black stone tablet, as, at some point, a glowing portal filled with the aura of the primordial chaos had appeared behind it. As he stared at the portal, Mu Chen's heart, which had just calmed, couldn't help but race again. That he knew that this was the passage to the final layer of the body refining tower.